Jack Nicholson. The name alone is practically a Hollywood institution. For over 60 years, he was the smiling predator, the symbol of cool rebellion, the madman, and the romantic lead. With a record 12 Oscar nominations and 3 wins, his spot in film history is locked down. We all know the characters, the iconic lines, and that devilish grin that could mean anything from pure charm to absolute menace. He's a true legend whose work has left a mark on generations, but legends cast long shadows. Behind the famous grin and the dark sunglasses, there's a history far more complicated and turbulent than most of us could ever imagine. It's a history of intense on-set conflicts, bitter rivalries, and explosive confrontations that have been whispered about in Hollywood for decades. For all his celebrated genius, there's another story, one of a man who was reportedly demanding, intense, and at times completely unforgiving, now in his late 80s. Jack Nicholson has mostly stepped away from the cameras, though he's still occasionally spotted at Lakers games. But the stories haven't gone anywhere. And while Nicholson himself has never released a hate list, decades of insider accounts, co-star interviews, and industry rumors have pieced together a legacy of another kind. It's a collection of tales about the actors who, for one reason or another, reportedly found themselves on the wrong side of the king of Hollywood. Today, we're uncovering 5 of those stories. These aren't just about minor disagreements. They're stories of personal grievances, professional betrayals, and on-set wars. So what happens when an unstoppable force like Jack Nicholson meets an immovable object on a film set? Let's find out. Our first story kicks off in 2006, on the set of a modern crime masterpiece, The Departed. Directed by Martin Scorsese, the film was a who's who of cinematic titans: Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, and Jack Nicholson playing the monstrous mob boss Frank Costello. Into this high-stakes world stepped the formidable British actor Ray Winstone. Winstone is no pushover. Known for his tough guy roles, he's an actor with immense power and presence. He was cast as Mr. French, the loyal and brutal enforcer for Nicholson's Costello. On paper, it was a perfect match. But according to Winstone, the reality was anything but. The conflict, it's been alleged, wasn't a single blow-up but a slow burn of disrespect. In interviews years later, Winstone didn't mince words. He said he and Jack did not seem to get on too well. Winstone comes from a gritty, working-class school of acting, while Nicholson was pure Hollywood royalty. That difference reportedly created friction. In a 2025 podcast interview, Winstone claimed he found the legendary actor to be egotistical and rude. I thought he was so far up his own ******, it was unbelievable. Winstone stated bluntly, the tension wasn't just professional. According to Winstone, it became deeply personal when Nicholson was allegedly rude to his wife. For Winstone, that crossed a line. The animosity became palpable. He admitted in the same podcast that if Nicholson had been a younger man, the conflict might have gotten physical, stating, "I'd have definitely knocked him out." It's a shocking statement that reveals just how deep the anger ran. Imagine 2 of the most intimidating actors of their generation nearly coming to blows while making one of the most celebrated gangster films of all time. While Winstone has acknowledged Nicholson is a brilliant actor, he's made it clear that working with him was a nightmare he has no interest in repeating. Next, we have to go back to 1978. Nicholson, at the top of his game, decided to direct and star in a quirky Western comedy, Going South. For his supporting cast, he brought in a force of nature who was taking the world by storm, John Belushi. Belushi was a comedic comet, the breakout star of Saturday Night Live and Animal House. Nicholson reportedly saw a kindred spirit and wanted to mentor the explosive newcomer. That plan did not work out. The set of Going South allegedly became a battleground between Nicholson's desire for professionalism and Belushi's increasingly erratic behavior. According to on-set reports, Belushi was often late and unprepared, which was a cardinal sin for the meticulously prepared Nicholson. It's been said that Belushi would even mock Nicholson's directing style in front of the crew. For Nicholson, who was putting his reputation on the line as both star and director, this was a huge betrayal. The breaking point, as the story goes, was a furious public outburst from Nicholson after one too many unprofessional moments from Belushi. The consequences were reportedly felt in the final cut of the film, where Belushi's role was significantly trimmed down. After the movie flopped, the blame game started. Belushi reportedly told people, "Jack treated me like S*** on Going South. I hate him." For his part, Nicholson made it clear that Belushi's behavior nearly derailed the production. For Jack, it was a matter of principle. He had no tolerance for anyone who disrespected the craft. Although the two reportedly patched things up shortly before Belushi's tragic death, the conflict on Going South became a legendary Hollywood tale of two rebels who just couldn't work together. Not all feuds are loud. Some are cold wars waged silently over decades. This seems to be the case with Nicholson's reported long-standing disdain for fellow 1970s superstar Ryan O'Neal. This wasn't about one incident. It was apparently about a fundamental disagreement on what it means to be an actor. In the 70s, O'Neal was a Hollywood golden boy with huge hits like Love Story and Paper Moon. But according to insider reports, Jack Nicholson never respected him as a performer, viewing him as a lightweight who lacked true artistic depth. To understand why, you have to know what Nicholson valued. He reportedly loved working with actors who were raw, unpredictable, and could surprise him in a scene. He believed the best moments on film were discovered, not rehearsed. In Nicholson's eyes, O'Neal just didn't have that magic. This wasn't just a casual opinion. It allegedly became a professional verdict. By the mid-70s, Nicholson had a huge amount of power in Hollywood and could influence casting. The story goes that he used that power to make sure he'd never have to share a screen with O'Neal. While there's no concrete proof of an official blacklist, the rumor has persisted for decades. One unsubstantiated but telling anecdote involves Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon. The lead role went to O'Neal and became one of his most acclaimed performances. However, industry rumor suggests Nicholson, a friend of Kubrick's, was privately dismissive of the choice. This feud, if you can call it that, was reportedly an artistic judgment, delivered with cold finality. From a cold war of professional judgment, we pivot to a conflict that was anything but. This story is raw, personal, and from one perspective, deeply humiliating. It involves Jack Nicholson, the alpha predator of Hollywood, and David Spade, the snarky comedian from Saturday Night Live. The conflict didn't happen on a film set, but in the social jungle of Hollywood. The source? A love triangle involving actress Laura Flynn Boyle. David Spade had briefly dated Boyle, but after they split, she started seeing Nicholson. According to Spade's own retellings, things got awkward fast. Spade says Nicholson first asked Boyle out right in front of him. Spade told her, "I've been in this town long enough to know when I'm outranked." The situation escalated after Boyle was in a minor car crash with Nicholson. Boyle reportedly climbed out of the car screaming, "I have a boyfriend. I can't be here," which is how Spade says he found out they were still seeing each other. While Spade has often told the story with a comedic spin, it serves as a powerful example of Hollywood's social hierarchy. It wasn't about art, it was about territory. The message was clear: you don't mess with Jack. For David Spade, it was a brutal lesson in the unwritten rules of Hollywood, taught by the man who seemed to write them. At the top of our list is a feud that is pure Hollywood legend. It was a clash of two icons on the set of a film as chaotic behind the scenes as it was magical on screen. The film was 1987's The Witches of Eastwick, and the combatants were Jack Nicholson and a star who was every bit his equal in power and willpower, Cher. The movie brought together Cher, Susan Sarandon, and Michelle Pfeiffer as witches who accidentally summoned the devil himself, played with wicked glee by Nicholson. The on-screen chemistry was electric, but behind the scenes, the set was reportedly a war zone, with the primary conflict between its two biggest stars. According to numerous reports, Nicholson and Cher clashed almost immediately. Cher was not just a music superstar. She was on her way to winning an Oscar for Moonstruck. She was a force in her own right and not one to be intimidated. She was perhaps one of the few co-stars who could meet Nicholson's energy head-on. There are persistent, though unverified, rumors that Nicholson tried to have Cher removed from the film, and that director George Miller had to fight to keep her. It's also been alleged that there was serious tension with Susan Sarandon, who discovered her role had been switched with Cher's only after she arrived on set. This dynamic fits a pattern that has been reported about Nicholson, a reputation for being particularly difficult with his female colleagues. His alleged feud with Cher is often seen as the prime example. It was as if his on-screen character, the seductive and manipulative Darrell Van Horn, had bled into his real-life interactions. Paradoxically, this toxic environment may have fueled the film's success. The tension between Nicholson and the witches is the engine of the movie's plot, and the real-life friction arguably made their on-screen battles crackle with genuine energy. From the professional clash with Ray Winstone to the personal power play with David Spade, from the battle over discipline with John Belushi to the war of wills with Cher, these stories paint a complicated picture of Jack Nicholson. He is, without a doubt, one of the greatest actors who ever lived. His body of work is a monument to talent and artistic courage, but as these accounts suggest, that genius sometimes came at a price paid by the co-stars and crew members, who had to navigate his intense personality. His legacy is therefore twofold, that of the celebrated artist we see on screen, and that of the controversial, intimidating, and polarizing figure behind it. It brings up an age-old question: should we separate the art from the artist? With a figure as iconic as Jack Nicholson, the answer is anything but simple. Which of these legendary Hollywood stories surprised you the most? Are there other on-set conflicts you want us to cover next? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this look behind the curtain of Hollywood, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about the stars you thought you knew. Thanks for watching.